Give a big round of the hand. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round. Give a big round of the hand. Give a big round. Give a big round. Big round. Give a big round. Give a big.
We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents' Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents' Lounge is the cure to staying sane. Welcome to another, we are unmuted. Welcome to another special edition of the Parents' Lounge, Tuesday night. It's always a little discombobulated. I love Justin's always got like a vibe of like, what's the matter? How come you guys are so discombobulated before the show? Because we have kids.
Yeah.
Getting going. I just made dinner and dealing with book fair and
just so you know, Justin, before I had children, you and I would have been indistinguishable in public. I had the exact same face.
Yeah.
I was handsome and everything.
We had a great time too.
They took everything from me.
They left nothing.
They left nothing, which we'll talk about that tonight. Honestly, it's another Parental Mental Health Tuesday here. The goal is to make sure that everyone out there who is losing their mind parenting, which is, I believe, most of us, realize that we're all in the same boat and we're losing our minds together. There's a lot of elections going on tonight. We won't talk about any of them. None. We will not be mentioning that. We will be talking about hysterically funny things. I'm Jamie Kaler, Jason Gowan, Justin Ruppel, and let's just bring him in right out of the chute so he can say hi to all of his gamer pals over in Discord. Jeff Lewis is our guest tonight.
Hi, all the geeks. Guys, the elections, let's talk about that. No,
man. What's happening in Mississippi?
Thank you for having me.
First of all, let me say, Jeff, it's always,
yes.
I mean, you're my dad's in Parks. We go back far too long. We've done,
I've
probably done more shows with you than anyone, I believe, on Earth.
In history. Yeah, probably.
Probably.
A lot, you mean like tape? Yeah, we have the record.
Stage shows for 10 years straight.
Oh my God.
Didn't we do? Yeah, we did stage shows. We auditioned together in the Acme Comedy Theater in like 1990s.
And here's something you forgot about. We also auditioned and got into an improv group together.
Without a net. With Andy Fickman and some other wonderful people over there. Yeah, that's crazy.
Did it have one of those fun, ironic names?
Without a net. But Annette was a woman's name. A-N-N-E-T.
Of course it did.
And we fought it. We fought it, kicking and screaming.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are some of the crazy improv names? Like,
like Improv We Trust, or like Improv is
Andy.
Yes,
Improbable.
Andy. That's funny. That's so funny. Well, listen, Jeff, I always thank you for coming to do the show. It's always like I always reach out to Jeff. Hey, can you jump on the show? He's like, I got a Boy Scout meeting, and then let me check with my wife to make sure that I can do it.
I got to drop my son off at the Boy Scout. Yeah.
But we have crazy. Here's what's great about this show. It's been going out to so many different places. So tonight we're adding Discord to our list that includes YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn,
Twitch
is my thing.
Discord, and also, did we add TikTok this evening? Are we on TikTok, Mr. Ruppel?
We did not. So you can say whatever you like.
Oh, okay. But that was coming. Apparently, it didn't work out.
It is coming. I have to buy a Windows computer.
I was promised we would be on TikTok. That was the whole selling point.
We were going to be on TikTok, but apparently
that was the whole selling point, Jeff.
Jamie said you're going to be on TikTok, man. It's like that's where there's a lot of.
Well, I also told Justin. I said
well,
it was the other.
A lot of money went off the table for Jeff this evening. I feel bad.
It's
Jeff.
all
I'm
off,
very
man.
sorry.
The only reason
my
Justin even
God.
did the show because he thought it was the Jeff Lewis who was the fashion guy.
Yes.
On Bravo.
Oh, I'll tell you funny. I met his brother at our school. He's like, hey, I'm Jeff Lewis. He's like, oh my God, that's my brother. So he tells everybody he sees, hey, guess who this is? And they're like, who? And he goes, Jeff Lewis. And they're like, because it's not his brother. Yeah.
I evicted a Jeff Lewis.
I love Jeff Stewart. Wait, let's that story. Come on, that's yes.
Was that?
No, I love that. I love the Jeff Lewis. The other Jeff Lewis, I posted on the photo of you coming. There's another Jeff Lewis who was in every Clint Eastwood movie. He played the goofy guy with his backwards hat.
I think he's a G, right?
He is a Jeffrey Lewis, and he is actually Juliet Lewis's dad.
Julie Lewis, yeah.
Juliet Lewis. Juliet.
Hanukkah shirt throwing off.
Julie Lewis in the news, actually.
Yeah.
And in Julie Lewis in the news, had a great album with Jeff Lewis.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. All right, here's what I want to ask. Right out of the chute. Let me start because I don't know how you guys are feeling these days. And honestly, this show, I kind of was like every week. I'm like, ugh. But honestly, it's such parental mental health because. Let me ask you guys, the way your life is unfolding right now in society with everything that's going on in the world, are you telling anyone that you are living the best years of your life right now?
Look at my face, Jamie. Nobody may
well,
believe that.
I have to add a caveat to that because I was living such a bad life before I was married. It was such a low level of my life was so bad. And so, I mean, this is not great, but this is a lot. This is good.
Who was there for your single days? Were they that bad?
No, I'm thinking more. I guess I'm thinking more about childhood and my life growing up before I started.
Oh, okay.
Jeez.
But yes, no, they were still bad. They were still bad when I met you.
It seemed like you were doing pretty great.
Really? I don't know, man. I mean, I mean, I don't want to be positive or anything about marriage or family. I know that's not the direction we go. But I mean,
wait, we normally are positive about this experience that we've all got. It's like
no,
fans the kids.
Yeah, but it's family life has brought some stability and some kind of something. I don't know.
Here's really where my question is going, and it's a whole amalgam of things of like technology coming to a crux, way more money. Like I was thinking about the amount of bills I pay compared to what my parents paid, and just like every time my phone clicks on, it goes, "There's another bill from Apple." Like $3 for this app, for $10 for this, and all of a sudden, by the end of the day, it's like it feels like there's just a constant bleeding going out. And I'm like, it's just, there's a maddening, maybe and I also wonder if it's because I'm getting old and my anxiety is coming from technology in the world spinning way faster than my brain can comprehend.
There you go. You know why your parents didn't have to deal with the notifications from Apple? Because they didn't know what the World Wide Web is. They didn't have access to every movie, every song you could ever want at the touch of your fingers in any second. This is literally
that like that's a positive.
It is.
That's like, oh my gosh, all this technology is worth that madness. That little madness.
Yeah, absolutely it is. Absolutely it is. In the car, when I'm driving to a gig or somewhere, and I think of, oh my God, you know what song I haven't heard forever? I touch a button on my steering wheel, and a 8-speaker sound system in a base model car with a subwoofer plays exactly what song I want at a brain-shaking volume like that. As a kid,
but how?
As a kid,
disagreement.
That's fine. As a kid, in order to get that song, I would have had to wait next to a radio and get at the front of it, and then the guy talking over it, and then on top of that, I have to listen. You and I just talked about this, Jamie. My favorite albums of all time had like 7 crap songs on them. I don't have to listen to those ever again. I don't have to listen to anything I don't want. The end of commercials, the end of, like all of that. This is the greatest. This is
you. And here's the thing:
great.
when that
Hold
song
on,
did
what does
come on,
Jason
there's no like, you've lost the real joy in it because you can get anything you want at any time. So the joy back then, there was just like we also didn't know what we were missing, and we weren't inundated with so much white noise that there's no peace and solitude anymore, man. We are just sitting here, just being inundated 24/7.
Well, there's the crux. There's the crux. Jason, I don't know about you, buddy, because go with me on this. I hate silence. I hate it.
That's because you're insane. You have ADHD and you know it.
I know I am.
So you need it. You're like a walking sound machine. You need the ocean in your ear at 24/7 or your brain explodes.
I think it's overwhelming. I do think sometimes it's overwhelming. Like I think we had 6 things to worry about years ago, and now we've got 18 things, which may be good or bad, but we have 18 things now that we didn't even know. We had 12 of those we didn't know we needed to worry about, and now we do. It's like, I don't know. I'm torn because I do love the pleasures of it, but I also wonder what we're losing out.
You're talking about porn, and yes, of course, technology has really helped in the porn.
Of course, I'm talking. That's all I'm always talking about. The context is always porn for me.
Yes, it's always, and so of course that's for you.
The technology. I mean,
Jason,
of course, I didn't know I could say that on the show.
Tell me what you think.
I'm with you, buddy. I like the ability to have especially for me who drives a ton, and it's just deafening silence. Like the first 25 minutes, I will sit silent till I have the effect of my children worn off. But then I listen to books on tape. I listen to podcasts. And I can choose at the drop of a hat. I used to have to fumble through 5,000 books of CDs or cassette tapes in my '89 Chevy Corsica.
Because you're weak. You know what I used to do? I would drive. I'd have one foot out the window. I'd be eating a McDonald's cheeseburger and reading a book. I'd read a book on the freeway. Going 85. I'm sketching over here. I'm eating. I'm mixing drinks in the back seat. I got one foot out the window. I'm cleaning the outside of the car. Back then, you could do anything. You didn't need it in your face, Jeff.
I also think, just an example, if you got Netflix, right? Now, This is what happens to me. I think my brain is being completely converted because I'll watch all night something to watch. I have millions of choices. It's too many choices. And I'll end up also watching something with my phone. Like, I think I've been trained. And if I had 6 things to choose from, I would pick one and I would watch that all night. And I would probably be almost as happy.
You would be happier.
This is such a crock. Everybody,
no, but
I hear this,
don't you agree
all the time.
Netflix? Don't you agree that there's too many? Sometimes there's like I can't settle on something because what's next? What's the other? What's a show that's not there?
Dude, it's like eating at the Cheesecake Factory. You're like, wait, you make spaghetti and ramen and sushi and a
Jerry's
salad
Deli.
And
it's Jerry's Deli
It's
menu.
like, dude, give me 5 items. I don't need 7,000 menu items to look through.
Jerry's Deli menu.
Yep.
It's too much. It's overwhelming.
Back then, here was the other thing. You know what? You don't know, I don't think. You might be too, well, you might get it. Do you remember channel surfing? Yes. You cannot channel surf anymore. And sometimes you have to go out and then you back into Hulu, you scroll through Hulu a bit, then you scroll out, then you go into Amazon Prime, then you scroll out, then you go to Apple, then you scroll out, then you go back into Paramount Plus. There's not one, eventually they're going to bundle them and call it cable and just it'll be alphabetical and you can roll down it and pick and choose. But instead now, whatever they put on the main page, finally you're like, yeah, Suits, sure.
What did they feed you at the nursing home today that you're all uppity?
Well, let me say.
You want to know? I'll tell you what happened.
Here's the deal. I hear my generation constantly chit-chatting like, you remember how great Blockbuster was? Really? Really? Getting in the car with your parents going, fine, we'll go to Blockbuster, driving 15, 20 minutes to Blockbuster, walking around the 10 new releases you want to see that weren't there. And then you'd be like, fine, I guess we're going to watch In the Navy again or In the Army Now or you know,
Navy.
whatever. I was trying to think of it.
No.
Pauly Shore movie in the
Village
army
People
now.
movie.
Encino Man.
Encino
Village-
Amorissa. And then you'd be like, I guess that's what we're watching again. And then you go and you check out and you find out you had $20 worth of overage charges on some piece of crap you didn't want to see. And that was just 30 years ago. Go back another 20 years. I would like to see a movie at home. Never happened. Never gonna happen. They didn't have VHS tapes. You had Betamax 30 years before that. Betamax.
Thank God, narcolepsy. Thank God, narcolepsy. The whole time I was like, really? We could only think of one. We could only think of one Pauly Shore. Like everyone's brain got stumped that we were like Encino Man. Yeah.
What's the one underground that he lived underground?
Biodome. There it is. Because
Yeah.
I think there's 4. You're in the
All right.
army now.
He was also in the Goofy movies. I think he did
Encino
both
Man.
of
You said
them.
Encino Man.
Encino Man.
When I was growing up, stereos were just that. Stereo. 2-channel. Music sounded like shice. Okay. Nowadays, all of my systems in my house can go all the way from 20 hertz all the way up to 160 hertz of sound. It can be immersive and incredible. DVDs are even old. I mean, look at the technology you have. It's immersive.
I'm going to agree with you, but I feel like we were talking about something much broader, being inundated with stuff. Yes, of course. I just watched Mission Impossible Saturday night on my 70-inch screen with my buddy who came over, and we paused it. And I think I paused it at one point. I go, looks pretty good, doesn't it? Like that kind of, and it was awesome. So yes,
I think there's a middle ground.
Of course.
What was the middle ground, Jeff? When was the perfect time?
Well,
the perfect time is when you can watch movies or in your house. That to me was heaven. I don't have to go to Blockbuster. I agree. Renting a movie in your house
is better than Blockbuster.
Awesome.
Was a pain in the ass, and you'd go there that night, and I remember standing out in front of it as the person went to put it through the thing and go, "Hey, what is that? Is that Jurassic Park? Is that Jurassic Park? Okay, don't." And then you're smashing the window. Hold that! I'm coming around. Hold Jurassic Park. I'm coming to get it.
Can I
and
tell
then
you,
go in and some other guy, you don't know.
As a Blockbuster employee, I hated those people so friggin' much. Hated them.
But the only reason I went to Blockbuster was to get Jurassic Park. What are you doing?
We used to have a guy that would come in every Friday night, and he'd be like, "I need you to dig into the return box. I need you to find this movie for me." And I'm like, I don't know if you know this. There are other customers here. I've got to get all these people too.
Here's a broader spectrum thing. All right. Here, back in the day before the internet, there was a friend of yours that would be like, "Hey, you know what?" And then say some random piece of BS that you couldn't prove was right or wrong. And then they would just get to hold court on that. You know, like, well, did you know that Nevada actually leads the country in gold, not silver, even though it's called the Silver State? And you're like, there's no way for me to check that. There is no way for me to check that. And so then all these people in my life used to be able to, know it all. And now you're like, no, you're wrong. You're just plain wrong. And then they'll go back.
The internet has really resolved the differences between people with facts.
Well, no. Here's the difference: is that guy? It's usually a guy, by the way. That guy that I'm talking about, when I go back to correct him, he gets to backpedal. Boy, you know what it is. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no. As a matter of fact, what is it? What is it? Meanwhile, the old times, I would just sit there and go, well, I guess you're right. And so. I actually am in the game.
Then
now.
Why is everybody right now? Like, I don't remember a time.
Oh, they're not right. They're stupid.
When I was younger, people used to go, I used to go like, look, I don't know if I'm right, but I'm going to tell you this. Nowadays, people go, I have no education whatsoever, but I am absolutely 100% right about what I'm about to say.
Everybody's an expert. Yeah.
Because of the internet. The problem is the internet is not, I don't know if you know this.
Yeah, but that's provable. But that's provable.
No, it's not.
Oh, yeah, it is. So, for example, the other day, watch this circular reasoning. I'm not going to say who. My dad. There was a point in which he was like, "Did you hear this thing on the internet? Did this happen?" And I was like, "Can you show me the website?" And he goes, "Yeah, see, it's right here." And I go, "You want to scroll down on that website? Take a look at who owns that website." And he's like, what, you can do that? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
You actually just scroll down to the bottom. And I was like, so let's see who owns that, because you always say that about me. You always check my references. Let's see who owns this. 3 clicks away, Russians. And he's like, what? I was like, right. So this is a Russian-owned site? I thought you fought against the Russians. I thought that was kind of like the whole point that you hated. Blah, 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 blah. It's so easy to prove who's right and wrong on the internet.
Nobody. You're saying like people are going to click 3 times to find the truth on something. You're insane if you believe that.
I do.
Yeah, it's because you, again, the ADHD, no children, too much time on your hands. You're drinking flavorless squirts.
You're drinking
with
squirts?
No caffeine. I mean, you're
when
up
I
all
was
night.
growing up, when I was growing up, we had one Pauly Shore movie, and we were happy. That's it.
We were happy.
We were happy with one
life
Pauly
was
Shore
simpler.
movie. We watched it over and over again.
Yes.
It was simpler and dull.
And you go, what else could he do? Could he be a soldier? Yes. What if he's in a biodome? Yes. What if
I
he
used to
finds
love
a
to read
caveman?
books.
Yes.
I'm having trouble reading books. I used to love to read books.
I'm illiterate now because of the internet.
I just listen to them.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, I hated reading books. You know why? Because you can't share a book. You can't share a book. Here's me reading a book.
I can't give a book to somebody.
What's that?
I can't hand a book. I can hand a book to a friend.
They're not going to read that. Somebody is back in your life. You used to be like, hold on, I just read a funny paragraph. Here, person, you read this book. And then they would go, oh, no, they wouldn't. But now I can actually be in a car with 4 people and we can all listen to the same book at the same time. From the author's voice, mind you.
I share books with my kids all the time, but you don't have children, so you wouldn't know that, because we know what we do. We read them out loud. You can read books out loud. Did you know that they can be
There's
read
also
out
book
loud?
club. They have book clubs now.
All right, I got another question. Let's get off of this one before Ruppel.
Jamie's got to move on.
I am
Jamie and I are
old
pretty
enough.
upset.
I'm in my 40s, so I'm old enough to not say I'm a youngin'. But you're right, I don't have kids. But I thought all of that stuff back in the 80s and 90s, I went back and looked at all the stuff that I really loved, right? I can have all that same stuff now, just at better access and better quality.
I think Blair Beveridge sums it up. Put that back up there. I like Goofy movie. The rest can go to the dusty shelf no one ever goes to.
What's a Goofy movie?
It's a Disney movie about Goofy and his kid.
It had a banger in it. It had a banger by an artist called Powerline in the Goofy movie.
So basically, the question I asked for everybody was,
yes,
when you look back on your life, is this going to be the greatest? Are you living your greatest life now? You are. Well, Justin is. He's got 2 wives, no kids, a lot of free time, and ADHD. So he's heavily medicated. And he literally plays golf every day. So I think we can all tell him where we would like him to go. And honestly, for a guy who plays golf every day, he should be way better. He should be way better. But he's not.
That's true.
Not. He should be. The amount you play, you should be scratch.
You beat me the other day.
No, I did not. I did not beat you. It was no. And actually, there was a couple holes. I took my max at 7, which would have been a 9 in a tournament. You beat you. Actually,
are we talking about golf?
Yeah, we're still talking about.
We're not talking about it.
Let's get back to porn.
Speaking of balls and holes.
Actually, what's funny is because technology goes where that goes. That's why VHS beat out beta. That's why
it's the military and it's adult.
And always the porn complex. What happens in a few years when all of a sudden you're in you're like there's a AI robot with you and you go I don't know where's porn going to?
Oh, the sex bots with the
it's a sex bot, right? It's a sex bot.
And they have those suits now that have all the sensors that tingle the nerves.
But also there's people being able to satisfy you on a phone line or on an internet connected between 2 devices or something.
Oh,
that's
I can't get in.
It's the suit. It's the suit, right?
Yeah, and they have the tongue thing too. That it mimics your motions. It's like a silicone tongue.
Oh, so the way you move,
it moves, and it can translate it between the 2.
But you could put something on your junk, and someone in another part of the country could be playing with the device that represents your junk.
I have one of those.
You have? Did you think
okay,
you have
so
one?
So
Not two of
listen,
them.
okay, here's a plot for a movie we have got to make. So
Yeah,
I don't want to wreck much about Mission Impossible. For those, did anyone else see it? Mission Impossible, the new one?
The
Dead
newest
Reckoning?
one, we're gonna watch it. We have not. So
Uh,
ruin it.
Very,
well,
very
here's
good.
part of the premise is that AI is taking over. So it's telling weapon systems basically that a scenario is happening in real life, but it's not. It's on, it's just ones and zeros, telling
Like war
this
games.
unbelievable killing device that there's a threat coming in and making that launch weapons, right? So you could theoretically take over someone's car, right, and hit the brakes on the freeway when they're doing 80 miles an hour and kill them, right? That's the thing.
Right.
So here's the premise: you get those two suits, right? But the guy hacks into the dude's porn suit, and then it's Basic Instinct AI version.
Mhm.
An AI ice pick, an AI. So you AI ice pick the guy.
I like it. That's pretty good.
Interesting.
Pretty good. I like
really
it.
good.
Let me
Let's do
ask
it.
this. Let me ask this.
Why
You
we
guys
still
are
doing it?
parents. You guys are parents. Would this make your life easier? Because we were just talking about this in the transportation department.
Wait, Dan O'Connor. Hold on. Dan's digital junk. I love Dan. Dan, one of the greatest improvisers on the planet.
Distance digital. It's so true.
Absolutely.
Dan, come do the show. All right, we're gonna have Dan O'Connor on. He's the best.
Would you consider? I cannot wait for self-driving cars to be good enough, so I don't have to drive again. How about you guys?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
By the way, can we go back to Hamlet? Guys, you can get killing me with comments. This is awesome. There was a movie on the Playboy channel that was all about this Club VR. Has anyone else seen
About
that?
which part
Yeah,
of
I've
it?
seen that,
The people with the jump thing?
Says the guy with no. You know how I knew he was going to say that because we all have kids. There's no way we have the Playboy channel. No way.
Playboy
Dingo,
channel.
No.
Oh,
He said it was on the Playboy channel. Oh, it's on an internet thing. Yeah, that's so funny.
I
VR
was so
Club VR. That's so funny.
all right. I think I personally think that back in the day before everything went digital, I used to say a lot, I'm bored. I heard people say that word all the time. I'm bored. There is something to do if you want to now all the time. And you can even say that to your kids.
That's the
If
problem.
That's the problem. That is the problem.
Because we tell our kids turn off your pad and they get bored.
Oh, it is
There's
a
no-
nightmarish
There's
health.
no
thing.
meditative thought anymore. So I honestly, when I was a little kid, I remember saying like, I'm bored. I wanted to watch
But
TV
you
or
found
something. But
something to do.
in my 30s and 40s, I never got bored. I was never bored. I was always even if it was just me laying around watching TV or something. I just was never.
Yeah. In your 30s and 40s, that was the 2000s, but
Yeah, it was a great
with the
time,
internet.
dude.
With the
Yeah,
internet.
but it was not. It wasn't like it is now. But yes, it was here. It was here. But
I
I wasn't
think-
that guy who was playing that one Pong game. It was like, look, I'm playing Pong with the guy from Japan.
2000?
That was 1980. What are you
I remember that.
That's-
Oh my god.
That's 40 years.
Listen, when my first computer was reel to reel. It was very, very old back then.
I remember my brother had to put his phone down in some kind of modem or something. Do you remember
You
that?
remember that? It would go,
Landline.
That's funny.
Oh my god.
That's funny.
It's so crazy though. Like my kids are never. I try to explain to them. Like it leaped. Like my father was. He kind of was born in the 20s, so television wasn't really big in the 50s. But like exponentially, his understanding of what the technology I had, like a Walkman, his brain could fathom it. I mean, the stuff happening now, I'm like, dude, I'm like walking away from the table. Like, I'm out. I can't. It's just so it's so draining. But I know that some people are loving it. But it's just too much white noise.
It puts my kids at a frequency where they come out of it. When we bring them out of it, they're just like vibrating, and you have to like okay, it's time to detox from all the stimulation now, and we're all going to put all the stimulation away, and we're going to sit quietly and talk about our feelings. And then
But I gotta say, eventually, kids do find something to do. If you take it away, they will find an art project. They'll go outside. I think the kids are, when it comes down to it, kids.
See, Dan says being bored is a good thing. I know, right?
What?
Yeah,
It is actually a good thing, Justin. Your brain is not supposed to be running at the highest RPMs 24/7. It's not healthy. It's not great for you. It causes anxiety. Look at the depression rates and everything. Kids are worse off than they've ever been, I think. But I don't know. Am I
and
wrong?
I'm very
You
very
know how
boring.
you know that? Because you're actually able to talk to people in other states and countries and communicate on multiple levels. So you actually know that. I think it was worse back then. I think, and again, maybe this is just me. I think if we go back like to the 1940s, 50s, and 60s, where people were living in constant threat of nuclear war,
Sure.
thinking that they were hiding under tables and the government would tell them, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And you couldn't check. You couldn't know. And so you lived in this utter state of terror. There were more conflicts and all of that. Plus, on top of that, this is going to sound like a weird thing, but you don't have to be rich now to enjoy basic stuff that everybody gets to enjoy. If you go back to like the 1970s, if your parents didn't have money for a TV, you didn't get to talk to people. You didn't get to share stuff. You know what I mean? Like there was a big gap. I remember when I was growing up, we used to make fun of, or you would get made fun of based on which school or environment you were in if you were the poor kid. Now, how do you know if you're the poor kid? How? I mean, like, how would you know?
Nowadays?
I'm not sure. I mean, I think the level has changed.
How?
I think
How?
Because
what does the poor kid look like?
Dude, my kids' soccer team will play against other kids' soccer teams, and we'll go to like tournaments, and you can see immediately. And that's just in a tournament where they're all wearing the same uniforms.
There's holes in shoes.
No,
the color
not just that. Not just that.
Hold on, guys.
Dude,
the color
please.
TV.
Are you telling me you can't tell the difference between classes? And there's only two anymore. There's poor and rich. So I'm confused as to.
But I think also the color
Do
TV.
you even get out of the house
70s.
ever? Or are you playing golf every day? What are you doing?
What? What are you talking about? I could look.
Justin, you thought there was a movie called In the Navy. I mean, that's weird, right?
That's true. That's true.
I mean,
Actually,
In the
I think
Navy.
there was a movie called In the Navy. I want to say it's like Abbott and Costello or something. But
Wasn't
there is
that
a
up
movie.
Periscope? Listen,
No, that's
can I just say?
Periscope.
That's Rock Hudson. No, that's Ice Station Zebra.
Up Periscope
I'm
is
for
one
Red
of the porn
October.
stuff.
Yes, that's the one. I
Listen,
forget.
there was a show called After the Porn. And I'm gonna go back. Wait a second. I'm circling.
But
circling
nobody
back.
saw it because everyone was asleep.
Jamie, you are correct. It's a 1941 Abbott and Costello movie in the Navy.
That's how old.
Oh
I
my
wish it wasn't
God.
right. That showed how old I was.
Holy
I do have an encyclopedic
Oh my
knowledge of
God.
film. I can't remember the parents' names at my kid's school, but I can tell you like some weird Vincent Price
Abbott
movie from
and they were in the
1952.
Navy.
Yeah, they did.
Abbott
In
and
the Navy,
that's crazy.
I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
What I
All right,
wanna say-
let me jump off of this for a second.
Okay, I wanted
Let me
to answer your
jump off.
question about living your
Yes,
best
please.
life.
Yes, go ahead.
No, my point about after the porn. There's a reason I brought it up. There are guys that would say they're now in their 50s or 60s or whatever. They said I slept with thousands of women. I had on camera, off camera, and then they'll say, but what I really wanted was a family. I really wanted to have kids, and I'm like, oh my God, because what guy wouldn't want to have thousands of women, and yet this guy's looking back going, because what my point is, I think everything is nicer on the other side. So it's like it's hard to say living your best life because
You might be able to even say the grass is greener on the other side. I mean, things are nicer, but grass is greener as well.
I mean,
a lot of
maybe
things
it's
on the
not,
other
but
side
I'd
of the
like
fence
to
are better.
try.
I like
So
the
by
grass
that
greener.
metric, by that metric, I seem pretty sane because you
Yeah.
guys are all saying, except for Jason. Jason agrees with me that. So you guys are saying I was better and I had nothing, or it was better when things are. Oh no, I'm happy right now. I'm very happy, and I think it's a good time. Meaning, ipso facto, there are some people who like the way it is, and whereas the definition of sadness or stress or disappointment is going, nah, it was great. A time either that didn't exist or a time in the back. That's either regret or anxiety.
Here's what I'll tell you. And I agree with you that you are, yeah. And I was then as well at that age. Very much so. Very happy. And here's where I'll tell you it's different. Once you have kids, the biggest difference is, and it's not about technology or anything, it's simply the responsibility.
Sure.
And that it weighs so heavily.
Yes.
Because you are sitting there taking these kids to school and you're like, oh my God, is she going to get a bad grade? And you're looking at the other kids and you're like, wait, do I have to get her into soccer now? Or was she going to be out? Or like, it's this new thing you've never done before. And all of a sudden you're trying to make sure this child has like the perfect life. And the responsibility is ungodly, like the weight of it.
Let me ask a question to the parents, because I am not, obviously. Let me ask this question. When you were a kid, were you thinking my parents are such a disappointment?
No, but I felt like they were
a disappointment.
Right.
Yeah, I think they thought I was.
By the way, he's not joking. He's not.
Yeah, no.
He's not joking. But yes.
Well, the reason I say that is because my parents used to tell me about how stressful it was, making sure my life was great. You know, like, but I'm like, everything was fine. I was a kid. Like,
no, but it was stressful for the parents. They're you know.
No, I got that. But I'm asking you
kids.
to remember when you were a kid. And I'm saying your parents didn't have, I'm assuming they didn't have much as much as you do.
No.
Did you think your life was shite?
No, I like my
right.
life a lot.
So you're putting this self-imposed pressure. They're just happy to be with you. They're just happy.
No, my parents gave up a lot for me. They cut. I mean, my father. It's so want to hear something really crazy? I never knew this. When I got out of the Navy to become an actor, my father begged me not to. He said it was stupid. What are you doing? Why would you give up? You've done a few years, to get a pension, stay in the Navy. This is stupid what you're doing and stuff. And we fought really hard about it. And I ended up writing this big letter. And I mean, I've told the joke before, but one of my first jobs was JAG. And I called him to brag and go like, oh my God, Dad, I got a job on JAG. And he goes, oh, what are you doing? I go, well, I'm playing this guy, Staff Sergeant Dempsey, this character. He goes, Staff Sergeant. He's like, you were an officer when you win. You got out to play it. And he just was like, and he hung up the phone on me. Like, he could not have been more angry that I got out of the Navy to become an actor. And yet, years after he passed, one of his friends sent my brother like their high school yearbook. My father was in the play in high school. Never told me. Not once did he ever tell me he was in a play in high school. And he was in like the singing group. And he was,
and it was called In the Navy
for the newspaper. He was the newspaper cartoonist. Never told me any of those. Not one story.
Did you know he could draw at all?
Yeah, he had really great. I kind of use his block letters poorly, but he had great penmanship, like block letters, and yeah, he could doodle really, really well. But he never shared with me that there was an artistic side to this guy who ended up having to sell cars to raise 6 kids. Right. Or he did, and I was a dick, and I didn't listen to him.
I don't think I thought of my parents as real people. Like
right?
That did
so
crazy stuff. My dad took a road trip from Houston to LA, and like I didn't know.
My point is that you guys were pretty happy as kids with not as much resources and not as much stuff.
I would argue we were happier back then as the kids today. But
so you think your kids are talking and they're like, "I hate my life"?
There are a lot of kids like that. Yes, absolutely.
I will say, like, we've had kids on the soccer team who will tell you, like, they don't care for their lives, and like they will, they're sometimes very candid about that. It really depends on the kid, but I have definitely seen that side of it.
They see other kids' lives in perfect little boxes, perfect, filtered, groomed, perfect, and they start to see their own misgivings and their own abnormalities and their own things that aren't right, and to them it strikes a chord, and they see people singing songs about the best life and making it rain and money, and they're like, and it's affecting them. Well,
there's kids opening gifts, showing videos of opening gifts.
He makes $24 million open present. He's opening boxes for $24 million a year, and
I'm really scared of that gift. Social media. Yeah,
Jimmy, your kids are in the same ballpark as Jace. Do Hannah or Claire do the thing where they like want you to buy them all the toys so they can unbox? Are they trying to do that at all? Because Jace is, and that was unfortunately that stuff comes with a price tag.
Casey Oliver chimes in. Having kids completely changed my life. I understand my own parents so much now. We've talked about that so many times, Casey. About I wish I could go back now and apologize to my dad, but he's passed away. But Once I had kids, I was like, oh yeah. Oh, I get
Whereas
it.
I used the way my dad thinks, and whatever he did, I just do the opposite to guide my kids through.
Yeah.
Well, here's some food for thought. I was bullied really hard all the way through school. Whereas once I got to high school and the internet became a thing, that was the end of that, because those kids got suspended. Those kids were punished because it got around. Now, also keep in mind, I'm coming from the generation where my high school literally was the sister school, same architecture, same architects, same floor layout as Columbine. So my high school years, I can totally understand where that would be fearful and that's scary and all of that. However, if I could go back to high school and have any friends, even if they were on the internet, where there were a place where I could go and have somebody like me, that would be awesome. So now, in inverse, my entire childhood, I was bullied and bullied and bullied. I had a couple standout moments, but then didn't make all the sports teams, cut from all the plays. I didn't go to most of my dances and all that stuff. Whereas now I can go online and find people who I can talk to. Whereas you grew up in a little town and they didn't like you and you're bullied and your parents were not, in the in crowd or whatever. That was the end of it. Bye.
Okay,
no friends.
So you know, we were all bullied.
Yeah.
Sure.
I was bullied pretty badly, actually. Pretty badly. I think, and Jeff, we talked about this. Jason, I think we were all pretty bullied.
Yeah.
And here's what's funny: like, the guy who bullied us was bullied. It was just kind of a natural thing.
Home,
let me tell you this. So we talk about technology. This just happened this past week. And by the way, I don't want to proliferate this. I don't want, because Jeff, this is something that you probably would have done back in the day. This kid, he took all the girls in his senior high school class and he made fake porn videos.
Put the heads on them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've done that.
All the girls. See,
no, that's not unusual.
I was like, you see
it was called in the Navy.
like,
it was called in the Navy.
It was
just that's called. No, that's not, Jamie. Are you saying that as a bad thing? I'm not sure. You were saying there's a positive.
It wouldn't
thing,
surprise
right?
me if Jeff made porn and put his own head.
No, it's my own head. Yeah, every head is a man or woman. It's me. That's my fantasy.
It's being Jeff Lewis and
Jeff's playing wrong answers only.
Yeah.
It's all porn, but every face is
Jamie,
Jeff's.
that's not unusual. That's not a problem, Jamie. Tell me what the bad thing was.
Jeff's playing wrong
I got confused about the bad.
Tell me what the problem was. Tell me what what were you gonna say?
So anyway, that kid, of course, I believe gets suspended for doing that. But part of me was like, I'm not sure I would have shared it with everyone in high school, but I can see, like, as a senior in high school, if you had that technology to go, like, and you're like working on editing and you go, hey, wait a minute, what if I face swap this with my big crush? Yeah. I mean, that would be life changing. So I mean, the technology stuff, I think it's overwhelming for adult brains, let alone kid brains. So
yeah, it's a little crazy.
Let me jump really quick, because we have beaten that one to the point of making me laugh really hard. And that all came from, is anybody living their best life? So we got 3 no's and a 1 yes, and 3 no's. Weird.
Who's the yes?
Johnny, no kid.
Justin.
Johnny, no kid. Johnny, no kids. Johnny, 2 wives, no kids.
Look, if I wasn't here, it'd just be a big pity party at this point.
Honestly, here's what's great though, because all the people who are here watching who don't have kids are totally on your side. Everybody else hates your guts, right?
Yeah. Fine, that's not a shock. That's what my childhood was. So we're just right back.
I have kids and I love them.
You want to get bullied? You came to the right place, Buster.
Yeah,
Jeff and I made a career on that.
Here's the dark truth. If you say nice things about people and you say, I really like my house and I like the way I look and I like this, that's a ticket to people hating you.
True.
Right? So basically saying things are good, I like the world around me, is the way you get smacked down. So I'm saying, apparently, the old saying is misery loves company.
All right, that's about enough of that guy. He's not.
Wait, what happened? Did you wait a second? Did you?
Jamie booted
Was
him.
that you or was
I
that him?
It drove me crazy. I could. All right, next question.
God.
Next question. So here's what happens today. I got a little.
Okay, go ahead.
Here's a question, gentlemen. It's book fair time of year. All the parents who are watching this. Anybody else give their here? They give. Here's what happens every year. Justin, you give your kids come home. They go. It's book fair. Like again, libraries. Why are we buying books? I don't know.
Yes.
But so we buy.
They still have the book fair?
I got a
They have
shelf
a-
right here. Look at this. All these books.
Yeah, and the books
I'm
are
not
not
gonna read
cheap,
them
by the way.
again.
They're not like $2 and $3 books. They're like we
No.
bought a bunch of books. But so
I remember the book fair.
I give Claire money to go to the book fair, and she comes home with bag full of toys.
Toys. Yes.
Do you
toys.
have that at your book fair, right, Jeff? So
Yes,
Jason,
yeah,
yes.
I don't know why-
Everybody-
We're talking about this today.
Why are
Here's
you
my
selling
question.
my kid toys? Why do you have
Here's my
toys?
question: why are you
A book
calling it a
fair.
book fair? And then why are there toys at a book fair? And so the kids go,
It's a toy
and
fair.
of course, there's tons and tons of books. There's only a few tables of toys and posters. You can get a poster.
Yeah,
you can
it
buy a
should be called
bookmark.
Posterama because that's what the kid came home with.
Yeah, my daughter wanted to buy a bookmark. I go, dude, here's a piece of paper. That's called a bookmark. Dog ear it. What are you? I'm not buying you a $5 bookmark, you lunatic. Are you a crazy person? You're not going to read the book anyway. So
point,
I
Dad.
had to go. So the next day I had to go back to the book fair with the other one and have some guidance of like, all right, you can buy that, you can buy that, you can buy that. And we get out of the book fair, 4 books, $56.
I got to say, the library. I mean, I'm not trying to be cheap, but there is a lot to be said for a library. And my kids get tons of books when they go, and they just pick them up and have a stack of books.
Do you go to the town library, or are you talking about the school library?
I go to Bob's library on Fifth and Elm.
Is that just some guy's house that has a back door up to his?
It's a weird guy.
You just want to read some books?
Yeah,
Here's a
he's got-
lollipop.
No, the city library. Yeah, public library.
Blair said he beat up his bully once, and it was it's like, oh
Wait,
my
go
God.
back. Who said that?
Blair said, I beat up my bully once. It's, terrible advice, but it stopped it. I'm like, whoa. Oh my God.
I had a bully. He was like 2 years older than me in high school. And it got to the point where my mother had to go to the school and go, this
Yeah.
guy wasn't going to classes. He was literally standing outside the classroom. And when the
Yeah.
principal asked him why he wanted to beat me up, he said he didn't, I was a redhead. He goes, I hate redheads. And he stalked me for like a month. And so finally my mother goes down and she's talking to the principal like, hey, I'm a freshman. I'm being bussed into Manchester, New Hampshire out of Hooksett, this little town. And this dude is stalking me like in a jungle. And I'm trying to go to class. And the gym teacher is telling me to punch him in the throat. That was what the gym teacher told me. He goes, pretend like you're not going to hit him and then just haul off and punch him in the throat. And part of me is like, yeah, that'd be great. But back then, I don't know if you remember, Jeff, I'm a few years older, but back then there were stories of knifings and stuff. And so you'd be like, well, and everyone goes, that the moral of the story here is if you just beat up the bully once, they'll leave you alone. Some bullies do. You know what other
Some
bullies do?
don't, yeah.
They get pissed off and they go get a baseball bat. Did
Or they
anyone
get
not
2
see
or
the
3
Warriors? Anyone see the Warriors?
My high school bully,
Come
and
out
this
and
is
play.
not my high school bully. This is not a joke. Is on death row right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
He shot and killed 2 police officers.
They fought back. The cops. He
Well,
tried
also,
to bully the
they'll-
cops, and they fought back.
Or they get 2 of their friends and come and beat you up.
He who picks up the sword shall perish by it.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I was terrified. I didn't want to
Book
fight.
club.
I go. I didn't even know. I don't even know the guy's name. I couldn't tell you. I saw him a couple years after high school, and he was working in a gas station. And by then I was kind of, I was bigger and I was, pretty athletic. And I thought about just walking up and cold cocking him and I was like shaking. And then I was like, I was going to college and he was working at a gas station. I was like, he kind of got his punishment, I guess. I don't think
That's that great Maria Bamford joke where she was like, do you remember that? She's like,
No.
I went back to Walmart in my hometown after I'd been a comedian for 12 years. And
Narcolepsy says all that bully really wanted was a $5 bookmark.
that's it. His dad wouldn't give it to him.
It's trying to split up the joke.
And Maria goes back and she runs into her high school bully. And she's like, weren't you the girl who had to stay home because you were always like sick or something? Didn't they make fun of you for like being a total lesbo? I remember that. And Maria's like, yeah, I remember that. And she's like, yeah, press debit or credit.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. That's funny.
Everybody that
listen, the reason people bully is, you know, the worst. You know what the worst is, Justin? When all of a sudden your kid's the bully. That happened to us a couple times. Like Hannah got bullied. Every kid gets bullied, especially redheads. They get bullied. But then all of a sudden somebody called us and said she was being mean to their kid, and then you're like, whoa! It's almost worse. Like it was a worse feeling inside that your kid had made somebody else feel bad than somebody else made your kid feel bad for some reason.
What did you do there?
Yeah, what do you do when that happens?
I beat her to a pulp and I locked her outside overnight. Chained her to the apricot tree in the backyard, and I said, "You learn."
Give her a little bit of the hair the dog bit.
You have a redheaded fruit tree?
I hit her with
But also, I think
so she doesn't bruise. I'm not stupid.
I think when we're in that age too, I think we do what the crowd does. Like I remember I was really mean because 6 other kids were making fun of a girl because she was fat. I joined in. I mean, I was like, you know, I'm 8 years old, 9 years old, 10 years old. It's so stupid, but we're just kids.
Mm-hmm. We can't do that now because every kid's fat, so they don't even stick out.
That's true.
You know what's really great? I will say this. I had all of my high school bullies. Every single one of them is now like an acquaintance or friend of mine. And they all apologized because when we grew up, you know, you go back and they all came to me on Facebook, technology, you know, and they were like, "Hey man, I was going through some crap growing up. You know, you were just easy because you were 4'11". You know, it was really easy to pick on you. You had ringworm all over your head, and you know, you were growing pus out of the side of your head. Like, come on, man, it was easy." And I'm like, "Yeah, I get it. I'm sorry that I called you names too," you know, and they were like, it was a great coming to justice of it. So let's get back to book club. Guinness Book of World Records, greatest book ever, right? We all agree.
My daughter loved it. Yeah, she found one. So we got a book fair. Yeah, she loved, and it's still strong, man. It's still, I remember as a kid, like such a strong memory of reading the Guinness Book of World Records.
Me too. What was your favorite Guinness thing? What was your favorite thing to look up? What was your favorite? What record did you want to look up the most?
Well, I just remember vividly the two twins on the scooters who had to get buried in a piano case.
Yes. I remember longest fingernails very specifically.
Oh, longest hair too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Longest hair. Tallest guy. Tallest people. I love tallest people and I love shortest people.
Can we give some props to Dan Wally because he's absolutely right. It was created to sell Guinness.
Yes, that I know about.
It's why it's the Guinness Book of World Records.
Wait, is that real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dan, what else? I mean, I guess that's the whole story. It was literally created to sell Guinness.
Was it like a book that went to a store at bars so people would read and drink? Like
that makes total sense because it is kind of it was one of those things in the pub, like people would
I should know this.
Oh, he answered. It was first distributed to pubs to keep you there.
That's right. It was the first video, like trivia. Yeah. It was the first trivia.
Do you know about
it was the original internet. It was the original.
Do you know about
internet.
Farmer's Almanac?
What? No.
Farmer's Almanac added a ring to their book because people would take it in the toilet outside in the yard and they would use it, roll it up each page and use it to wipe their ass with it. So Farmer's Almanac was like, well, okay, let's just put a ring on it so you can hang it on the wall.
And that's all fine and dandy. You need to know what the blizzards are going to be for that.
And that's how you got the phrase, if you like it, then you better put a ring on it.
I'm not sure that's where that came from. But here's what's great. Once they use it, they buy another book. It's so brilliant because, dude, what if you made an edible book? That way they eat it. They're going to buy it again.
I think that's been done. Did you know that Snoop Dogg's book is all rolling paper?
It's true. It's absolutely. I didn't even think of it.
His autobiography is all pages of rolling paper.
Wow.
The owner of
my eyes
Guinness
got red just thinking about that.
Kyle Vane owner of Guinness got into a dispute about something, so they published the book with the correct answers to prove his point.
The first internet.
Yeah.
That's the beauty of the Parents Lounge. It's
What did
not
I just
fun
say?
And
What did I
jokes
say
about
at the beginning?
porn and a guy with no kids, like just bragging about his life.
Do you
It's
remember
also-
encyclopedias?
Yes.
Oh my God, that's a blast.
I
I know about Snoop. I know a lot about Snoop. More
I
than I
love
should.
that Snoop has changed his spelling to like
Yeah, I know how
Now-
to spell it.
alternate
Now,
facts, says Blair. All right, here's what else. Okay, so that was my book fair. Basically, it should be called Toy Fair. Here's what else happened today. So there's a walkathon coming. Apparently,
Oh, snap! Where they have to get the
Did
donations
you
for how
sponsor?
far they walk?
we're not even at donations yet. We're at the let's decorate a T-shirt phase of life. So
God, the
for like a
beginning.
week, we've known that we've had to send in like white T-shirts with kids, and so my
Okay.
wife, she was working and she was busy, and there's a mom text chain with like 100 moms who are just sharing anxiety constantly, yeah, like wigging out about what's happening and what needs to go. And one of the moms was like, "Hey, you got to get your white T-shirts, and the kids got to decorate it for the walkathon, or that's not going to happen. And the whole thing is going to blah, 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 blah." And so my wife's running to the store that day. She goes, "Oh, I'll get 2 T-shirts for my kids, and don't worry, I'll get one for your kid too." And the mom's like, "Awesome, thank you." Everyone, I think, knows how this story ends. My wife totally forgets about it. Johnny, last second, I'm on Plan Book. I'm looking at when they're supposed to decorate T-shirts at 9:40 this morning. Marshall's opens at 9:30. So I'm literally sitting in the parking lot at 9:30 a.m.
Oh my
waiting
God.
for Marshall's to open so I can run in, get 3 plain white kids T-shirts, run to school, drop them off so they can decorate them, which will look terrible, and no one will ever wear their shirt, and it will be for the walkathon or whatever.
And I know which Marshalls you mean.
Yeah,
I
the
know-
one that's
I know which-
you can easily get shot. It's
There's always a good Marshalls and a bad Marshalls, isn't there?
there's not a lot of good Marshalls, man. I don't know about that.
No.
It's, yeah.
Marshalls,
So I
not
run
sponsored.
into Marshalls. I finally find someone to help me. She's going, "Yeah, we don't sell those." I go, "No, kids' white T-shirts. I just need a kid white." "Yeah, we don't have them. Try Walmart." Walmart's mile. I can't. I mean, there's
They
no
don't
way I'm
sell
gonna make it.
white. Oh,
They didn't
God.
have it. They said they have adults. She showed me like adult man. I go, "She's 9 years old. It's not going to work." So I leave there. I call my wife. I go, they don't have any T-shirts. She goes rummaging through the kids' closets and pulls out like 3 kind of white old T-shirts that could be. I mean, it's going to be painted anyway. So I come all the way home. I get the 3 T-shirts. I get to the school. I have to get buzzed in. I get all the way in. I get up to their class. And Hannah goes, "I hate that shirt. I'm not using that shirt."
Oh boy.
I go, no, you just take it. You're going to decorate. You don't have to wear it. Just cut this. I don't cut it however you want. She goes, I won't even take it. She threw it back at me. Threw it at me.
Oh my God.
Threw it at me.
So she
I go to
bullied you.
Claire. I go to Claire. I go, "Here's your shirt." She goes, "Oh, I don't want to do that. I don't even want to color. I don't even want to decorate one of those things." She wouldn't take it either. Finally, I find the 3rd kid who I don't even know, the mom we've promised to give a white T-shirt to. And I basically laid the T-shirt over the kid's head and said, "This is your T-shirt." And I ran away. And I threw the other shirt at Hannah and one at Claire and ran off
And
the
you ran
school
out.
grounds. And I was like,
Oh my
my
God.
wife's like, "They get the T-shirts." I go, I don't know. I don't care.
Like-
no,
like
I
grenades.
don't want to be part of this. I don't want to do this anymore. Is what I think I said that on the phone today. I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do it anymore.
Jeff, we got a question that said, if Jeff doesn't divulge how many gummies he's had, is it really a podcast?
I don't know. I mean, I keep doing on Twitch. I must have taken gummies. I think I used to take gummies a lot. I love gummies.
A lot. So how many on now?
Probably 7 or 8. I'm pretty high. No, I don't have.
goes my hero.
No, there's
Watch
none.
him
Not
as he
tonight.
goes.
Jeff, have you? I mean, listen, I love that you go game. That's pretty cool. What do you, I mean? Is it just a release away from the children to go and just start shooting?
I've just
things?
always loved. You mean gummies or games?
Both together.
It's pretty fun. I mean, what is that?
Mushrooms.
Oh yeah, I used to do a lot of mushrooms. Anyway, yeah, I loved the gaming's fun. Not mushrooms. Gummies are great because you just take one and you just feel okay. You're not too high. It's a good
It was
feeling.
on the ballot tonight. I want to say Ohio, which one of the
Oh.
states it was up for
Ohio.
legalized.
Yeah.
Legalized
Ohio.
Oh, that's
recreational.
great. Is
It
it
would
just
be
Ohio?
state-
There must be others.
That would be state number 24, I think, or something or
Oh
other.
my God.
Higher than
No?
that. We're in
Is
our
it third?
30s now.
30s
Are you
now?
talking about recreational or
Recreational.
Recreational, yeah, it's only in the 20s.
Yeah.
But I find it interesting that we have like 36 states, I believe, or 35 states where it's either medically legal, recreationally legal, or decriminalized. And still the federal government's like, meh.
Yeah. Do you feel like there's
Dude.
one in every corner now? I mean, it's a little crazy.
In
And
LA,
it's getting-
yeah.
In
It's
LA,
getting
yeah.
really hard because we drive past them and the kids are in the car, and the one near us is called Ice Cream with a
Oh,
K.
yes, I know that
Ice
one.
Cream. And so I'll go by with the kids, and the kids are like, "Hey, can we stop and get some ice cream?" And I'm like,
No.
maybe we can. They don't
Well,
You
I
really
mean,
might
when I
get
was
less
growing-
shirts thrown at you.
Well,
Dude.
when I was growing up, they used to Washington State had a you couldn't buy liquor unless it was at a liquor store, right? And there was always just a big sign that said liquor and wine, and it was like, and so I always wanted what's in there, what's in there? Anything that you take, hey Brandon, anything that you take away from people and say you can't have it. That's all they want. You know what I mean? Like
Was that run by the state?
What's that?
Was that run by the state or was it?
Yeah, it was. It was.
That's in
Washington State
Virginia
had
too.
The liquor board. Yeah.
In Virginia,
Hampshire.
it's just white. Virginia, just white signs that say liquor. It's so
I'm
weird.
glad you
Blue
finished
laws,
that
you-
because you're like in Virginia, it's just whites. I'm like,
No, it's just white people. It's just generic signs. I mean, I'd never seen anything like it from Texas.
yeah, no, that's I meanwhile, you had states like Arizona when I went there the first time, and they had drive-through liquor
Yeah.
stores.
Texas had that.
Oh my God, Texas. Yeah.
Drive-through.
Dan says he's in Nebraska, one of 2 states that don't allow medical pot.
They don't
Yeah.
allow them. Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah, anytime you find a state where one of 3 things happens, all right? Number 1, it's a really big corn state where corn is like big because they're afraid that it'll come in and take out the corn subsidies. Number 2, the second thing is like a Bible Belt state. And then number 3, the biggest industrial jail complexes, they're like, all these people are just going to be let out, and you're like, there it is.
Dude, we had blue laws when I was a kid. You couldn't buy alcohol on Sunday. And so people Saturdays would be like, stock up. They'd fill the cooler in the backyard.
Right.
That's fun. Blue laws in Texas, you couldn't have stores open on Sunday. That's
Right.
really
Yeah.
funny. Any stores at all.
Honestly,
Like that would prevent you from drinking, by the way.
it would if you hadn't bought it, which happened
Yeah.
because
If this was any stores.
we couldn't
That's
get
so
you
funny.
could not get it. So if somebody didn't plan ahead, you did not have it. The Zombie DNA says, by the way, Zombie DNA might be the name of the day. The blue laws in Texas back in the 70s, maybe early 80s, you couldn't buy toys. You couldn't buy toys.
But nothing was allowed to be open.
Well, that was before the book fairs came to town.
Yeah. Book fairs changed everything, man. You can buy toys.
Dude, we should change our names to Johnny Callback,
Dude,
Johnny No
Jason is on
Kids.
fire tonight. He's just drive-by callbacking like out of nowhere.
Well, you guys, I rant here, but when I talk to Jason off camera, he needs to share some stories too of his insane life with those kids, man.
Wow,
it's crazy. Jeffy Lou's got his kids are what, a year older than mine. Are you seventh grade?
13 and 10, 7th and 5th.
Yeah, 7th and 5th.
Well, as the oldest, as with the one with the oldest kids, Jeffy, is it better when they're young or when they're older?
I like them now. I got to say, they're funnier. They can talk to them.
Yeah.
They, I mean, but you can also be immature, like talk about poopy and just be funny. And they think I'm funny too, which they won't admit it, but I think it's a point. I'm hitting this really nice sweet spot where they actually get my sense of humor. Like
another
exactly
year or
who I am.
But in about 2 years.
It's over. Yeah.
That's what
Right
happens.
now,
That's
I
what
could-
everybody's
yeah.
told me. Keckner told me that. Keckner was like, "Oh man, my kids used to laugh so hard at me. Now they're like, Dad, you're not funny." He goes, and
Yeah,
it really
yeah.
hurts, man. It really hurts.
Yeah.
Blair said once they made
funny.
them legal everywhere, it's not as cool anymore. I'm like, yeah, that's how you stop overuse of anything. You just
Make it legal.
proliferate it everywhere. If it's
Yeah,
available everywhere, it's
it's true.
not cool.
Jeff,
Do
did
people
you get
still
Harry a
have
phone?
dealers? Did people phone? Did I get Harry
you
a
know-
phone?
Did you get Harry a phone yet?
I got the one that's not internet connected, just to us be able to connect with him.
Like a
If we
flip
need to.
phone?
Yeah, it's like some program you get.
I say they
$8 a month.
re-released flip phones for like a younger audience kind of thing.
I don't know if they're flip phones, but it's the cheapest thing you have, and it's
I
just
got my
for us to
kids
be able to contact.
prop phones. It's just like a fake Apple iPhone. It's got the sticker on the front, and it looks like apps and stuff. It's just it's just a prop. It's not going.
And it makes a loud ringing noise, like ring, ring, ring.
Yeah, it does
Yeah.
that.
Oh my god.
Hi,
That's
Grandma.
funny because that's the next step. My kids are still begging me for a phone. They're on their
I
iPads
know,
right
I
now.
know.
I feel terrible.
We told them
I'd-
like I think was 16 or something, 15. I don't know.
You
It's
sit
gonna
there,
be
you
hard.
feel so guilty, Justin. You sit there and you go, all right, we're not going to do
Hi,
technology today.
Krista.
We're not going to do technology at all. All right, we're going to do stuff. And after like 2 hours of like, then here's what the problem is. Then they go, all right, well, let's break out. They almost know what they're going to do. They go, let's break out the paints. And then you're in the back of your head, you're like, oh man, I should just give them the iPhone because this is going to be a train wreck.
It's more work for you. Yes.
More work. More
It's the
work.
pad is so little work. That's the
They
problem.
punish you knowing they're torturing you to the point
Yeah.
where you just go, it's like,
Okay,
honestly,
go back to the pad.
yeah, you're being tortured until you give them the iPhone or the iPad, and they know it. And so
Or they
make your
play and
life
they bounce
miserable.
balls and break things and
Yep.
fight.
Yep.
There's
They
no
fight.
hell unleashed in our house worse than the twins asking to paint.
Ugh.
Like because they and what they're doing is not art. It's just
And you have to clean it up too.
they
Right.
do, and
Yeah.
then like they're like they just yell at you until you give in. They're just paint. It's paint, paint, paint.
How old are they?
Paint. 4. So they're
27.
they're
27. They're
No, they're
little.
4, and they're special needs, so they're just learning to talk. So they just yell paint the word paint at you until you give in, and then they just destroy our friggin' house.
My kids, they take, I'm going to say 45 minutes to set up paint because every paint has to be opened in the house. Everything's laid out. It's like a John Bonham drum kit. It's like just everywhere, little round things. And then they paint for about, I'm going to say 90 seconds, maybe a full 2 minutes. Sloppy, messy. Then they come up to you and expect you to go like, oh, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen. And I always say the same thing. I go, you could do better. And then they put it down, and then that's it. And then they literally walk away. They walk away and they go, now I'm gonna do a puzzle. They're not doing a puzzle. They're not even thinking about doing a puzzle. They're gonna break
Their
all
hands
the
still have the paint on them, and then they get the paint on the puzzle.
The paint
pieces.
is still set up. The puzzle gets splayed out over there. They do the puzzle for about 90 seconds.
Mhm.
Then they go, hey, I got these 3 pieces together, and you go, you can do better. And
then it's all left too on the ground.
it's everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere. And then all of a sudden they leave the house and they're out in the yard and they're just breaking things. And then finally they go, do you want to give me the iPad now or do you want me to do some more shit? And you go, here, just take it. I can't. And it's like 8:15 in the morning on Sunday. That's how it happens. 8:15.
Good old dog said it exactly. I'm with Justin. I get 9 hours of sleep. All my toys are where I put them, and they're not broken, and no stress, no noise. Just saying.
That sounds awesome.
My parents actually asked me the other day. They're like, "Why didn't you have kids?" And I was like, "I listened to both of you complain about how hard this was for 20 plus years, and now." You're wondering why the people I looked up to saying, don't do this, it's so hard, are now confused as to why I listened to you.
It's the women.
Actually, I kind of love the fact that there's a bunch of people because I think these are your gamer friends who are coming in to watch this. We should just call this show the birth control show. Big saying, Justin. Listen, hey, here. Okay, so here's what happens for a lot of you guys out there who are doing that and not having kids yet. I was you. I was you, Justin. I had kids at 50 because by that time I had already like done everything I kind of wanted to do in life, and I was like, let's give this a shot. And we bitch and moan. We do love it, Jeff.
I love 2 of my 3.
I've assembled. I feel like I've assembled my team.
Yes,
I've assembled. I have people that are forced to be around me and like me. So I've got to,
At least Justin, you're
like
married. I mean, I was single
like
in my deep 40s, to the point where I was finally stopped. I wasn't invited anywhere. Like I'd have some friends, but my friends' wives did not want me around. They did not want Fun Time Jamie to come around with their husband.
No, I didn't either.
Blair is right. Blair is exactly right. I love being an uncle very, very much. I love being an uncle. My sister, we don't talk, but I love being the guy who comes over to help take care of your kids.
Oh,
I like leasing. I don't want to buy.
My oldest thinks you are the greatest thing that ever happened to his life.
Yeah, because I'm not around to be an ass,
That is correct.
That's exactly right. Jump in, be fun, and then get out. You know what I mean?
I mean, like you broke out.
That's how I
dragon voices. Like he's the only kid in his school that's like, I know Tough Nut from the How to Train Your Dragons movies.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
And I know Jeff Goldblum.
And Tough Nut gets to play a lot of golf. Speaking of which, Top Golf. Yes.
One of our first sponsorship deals coming. Top Golf is coming. Our first sponsorship deal.
If you don't have kids or you do have kids, fun either way. Fun either way.
I do my birthday party there. Okay, I have one last thing I wanted to ask you guys about, and I think this is a generational gap about how we. And actually, so I played in the golf tournament yesterday, and they.
I'll be dead by then, Carl.
Who's going to take care of you when you're 70 plus?
I'll be dead, bro.
Yeah, you will be.
I mean, statistically, at least one of the 2 wives.
You think my kids are going to take care of me?
No, I'll be taking care of Justin. Probably. Sadly.
I'm going to share another horrific story that happened to me. We're at the tournament. There's a hole. And one of the holes they give away a prize for the closest to the pin on a par 3.
Nice.
And so one guy hits it, and here's the 2 prizes. You could choose a hand massager, and I guess you put your hand in it, and then it massages your hand. But of course, we're cracking jokes, Jeff. I mean, Jeff, if you had a hand massager, what are you using it for?
I'm putting my penis in it. Yeah. Is that what?
Putting your penis in it?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's 5 different slots, so you can mix it up, and you can choose the slot of the day.
There's 5 days of the week.
It writes itself. The whole joke, that bit writes itself. I don't think anybody needs us to explain it to them. They get it. It's a hand massager, and you put your penis in. There's no 2 ways.
Yeah.
So we cracked that joke. But the girl who was running that particular hole is probably 21, 22. The dudes who are all playing golf, we all laughed hard. I thought it was super funny, and she didn't say anything, but we could tell from her, and she wasn't wrong. She was like, that's inappropriate. And that is, I guess, inappropriate now. And people are being fired from sets for making jokes like that. And it's not cool in mixed company like it used to be. I'm not sure it was ever cool, but it's less cool maybe now. And so I saw the story of Abigail Breslin and Aaron Eckhart on a film. And I've never heard a bad word said about it. Did you see this in the news? Aaron Eckhart. Abigail Breslin is saying he was abusive on set to her and said derogatory things and was bullying, and she was afraid to be on set with him. Aaron Eckhart he's from Batman. He's a pretty famous
was this in a movie? Was this in a movie?
They were working on a movie together, and she claims she needs another $80,000 for mental compensation, and they had to reshoot something without her. She wouldn't do a scene with him. He hasn't responded, but I'm wondering if the 2 generations are so out of sync, and maybe something inappropriate but was innocent was said, and maybe another generation can't take, they're uncomfortable with that, and they've been taught that that's unacceptable behavior. And where do the 2 worlds meet is the question.
I think I can answer that question for you.
Yes,
Did you ever hear your parents, your Jamie, your parents talk about different races or ethnicities?
Oh, my father was Archie Bunker.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a great analogy, dude. It's a really great analogy.
So when you were like, "Whoa, Jesus, did you just say that?"
I used to say that all the time, dude. My father would say stuff. I go, Dad, I don't think you can say that.
Yeah. You know why? Because
You can't.
You end up knowing those people. As the world gets bigger, you can't just pick on somebody who ain't there, because you're like, I actually know somebody who's going through that. That's kind of horrible.
Okay. Here, just to play devil's advocate, that's a race thing, and yes, very uncool. But I don't know, a little. I honestly, I also am. I don't know what was said between him, but I know F. Murray Abraham, Frank Langella, these guys have been literally fired for off-color jokes on set that are unacceptable. Which I have listened.
Bill Murray.
I've said a lot.
Was
Jeff
he
just
fired or accused?
He was
Which one?
accused. He was just made an off-color joke.
Well, Bill
like
Murray.
you're saying. Yeah.
Well, did you ever see that interview back on the Tonight Show with Bill Murray and Gina Davis, where he literally took her top off while they were in the chair, and she was like, "Stop it, stop!" But here's the thing: I think what happens, and maybe I'm, power dynamics.
Yeah.
If Aaron Eckhart is the star and Abigail Breslin ain't the star in the line item. So if somebody makes a joke and they're like, "Hey, are you not laughing?" And you're like, "No, I'm not laughing." Then Aaron can go around and be like, "This bitch ain't laughing. Why do we even need her? I mean, cut her out of the scenes. Get another person in here. We didn't film much of her." So the power dynamic is where jokes. Now, I'll give you an example though. Just 7 years ago, during the heart of the Me Too movement, I was working in restaurants where young people were, and I was young back then, and we were doing off-color, horrible jokes. But the reason was we were all waiters. When we're all on an evil level of power, all the girls were giving it to the guys were giving it to the girls, because we couldn't turn around and tell anybody, because no one had power. We were just.
I think that's changed. I think this next generation is no. Not at all. None. I don't think.
Well, I don't think
get
that'll
your level bit. I
don't think that'll happen. And my theory is because they haven't experienced what it's like when that blade turns on them. They will eventually not like that. All right. And right now it's okay because you can get credit for calling somebody out. But just like with remakes, you're going to run out of remakes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there will be a time where people will be like, "I need to make a joke." And you're like, "You can't make it." Yeah. Oh yeah, we can. Eventually everything kind of evens out.
Nobody can take a joke anymore. But I will also say a lot of guys I know who are not funny in particular will say like a mean or a demeaning comment, and no one will laugh, and they'll go, "Dude, it's just a joke." And I always say the same thing. That's not a joke. You're confusing what the definition of a joke is. That was just a mean comment. It's not a joke. Nobody laughed. There's no setup. There's no punchline. There's no turn. There's a lot of things missing from this as a joke.
I think Seth Rogen said it best. He was like, he said, everybody can make a joke as long as.
No, do it as Seth Rogen. Stop. Don't.
I think the total problem is that I don't do it very well. He said the problem is that if the person who says the joke demonstrates in their real life that might not be a joke, then it's not taken as a joke.
I agree.
But if a person let's say a person who's in a wheelchair and is a paraplegic says, "I'm going to get out of my chair and literally kill you," you're like, "Oh, well, then obviously that's not going to happen, and you're not a threat, and therefore a joke can be made. The threat is the joke. That's what makes a joke not funny, is if you believe they might be really telling us for truth." Like, for example,
Jeffy and I were when we were doing theater and stuff, half the fun of theater was like people were it was very sex jokes and, people running around crazy. I mean, I thought it was pretty great, but I don't know. Maybe people got feelings hurt. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like I had that one where it was just that dirty sketch I did, which I don't know that there people weren't offended by it, so I don't know.
Still to this day, one of my favorite sketches I ever saw. Oh, you want to explain the premise? Because I think you'll do it in a much. So here's the premise of the whole show: is that we did a dirty show, and so we would write bits very specifically, and it was a late night show. I think it started at like midnight. So we do the regular sketch show where we had written all sketches,
and you can watch it online,
and it was great. And then we deliberately went out of our way to write the absolute dirtiest sketches we could think of. And Jeff had, I mean, still to this day, I mean, when you tell these guys the premise, it's pretty funny. So, and this was one of the highlights of the show. Because here's the other thing with dirty sketches. You think they're going to be funny? A lot of them didn't play funny whatsoever. They played horrific, and not funny. And then all of a sudden, an odd one would catch you. And Jeff, go ahead, tell them what it.
Do you want to tell them or?
No, I want you to.
No, I'm just having sex with my wife. I'm on top of her, and can I say things? I don't know what I can.
You know,
We're not
say
allowed
it
to
as,
talk
there now.
say it as. So we'll do it together.
I'm gonna climax.
I'm
gonna
the
climax.
end. The beginning of the sketch is the end of the scene.
Okay.
And he has a prop, a contraption it was a lotion, and it shot lotion out.
Okay, simulation.
It shot lotion. It shot lotion.
Okay.
And it was right at the top of the sketch. He's like, "This is it. This is about to happen." And there was a prop, the mechanism that shot,
right,
and never stopped. For I don't know,
it's
Jeff,
all
4
over
or 5
face
straight minutes. 4 or 5 straight
she
minutes.
gets a phone call from her mom. She reads a book
everywhere. It's
and I'm still squirting.
everywhere. And it never ended. And he's like, and she
it was pretty funny. Yeah.
He just really
it's actually
the night the
it's
twins
actually
were made.
online somewhere.
Oh, it's beautiful.
The sketch,
and
the sketchpad version.
It's everywhere. And she picks up the phone, and he's still just continually going for. I mean, it was.
She has a cigarette, and I put it.
I don't know if there was a longer sustained laugh in the theater, but honestly, if you put that up now, people would probably storm the stage and hang you in effigy. You would be.
No,
maybe that's what I was.
Yes, Hamlet. It was basically.
But that was my point. I think. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's not as offensive as other things would be. Maybe it's for some reason. I don't know.
I still find the fact that people find sex so, disgusting, and it's like the one thing that unifies all of us. It's literally whatever your flavor is doesn't matter. It's the fact that it's like in your whole life, there's a reason it's probably the most pleasurable thing that ever happens to you in your entire life, and the reason we seek it out with everything we can. We earn money
alone or with people,
anything. To go like, oh, that felt good. That felt really good.
This is a uniquely America problem. I don't think many other countries have this because we're
puritanical.
Puritanical.
Yes.
I mean, the one day I spent in Japan, when I turned on their television, I'm like, there was a TV show where the show was a gay man is going to go down on straight men, and if he can get you to orgasm, you lose. And it was the guy gets down on his knees, goes behind a curtain, and you can see the straight guy like, That was the show on public television.
Television. Honestly, I'd watch that.
Yeah, of course you would.
I would probably,
What's the one on Netflix right now called Date Naked or something? Have you seen that one?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Is it called? Yeah, no, it's totally true. And so what happens is, what is it called?
No, I'm saying that's Dating Naked. Yeah, but
Dating Naked is a show. And so
is it a game show or more like just a?
It's like a dating show.
Yeah,
and
you see
a game show, you see their body before you see their face or meet them. You just see the body.
Yeah, I'm totally so screwed on that show.
Wait, it's called Dating Naked. Wait.
Frontal. And then
I think it was the Bigfoot.
You chit chat with them, and then after the act break, you come out naked, and then everyone has a conversation. And here's the only thing that freaks me out is I'm always like, they're just all flaccid. I'm like, there's no charge at all to that. so freaked out standing
Yeah.
stark naked on a stage in front of other people. I would
Jenna
just be,
Jameson once said that every guy who comes up to her used to say, "I could be a porn star," and she said, "So what I started to do is no matter where we were, I'd say, 'Oh yeah,' and they'd be like, 'Yeah, just give me a shot,' and she'd pull their pants down and go, 'Get there in 30 seconds.'"
Yeah.
And they'd go, "Oh, with people around." She goes, "Yeah, that's the way this is. You said you wanted to be one. Let's go." And she's like, "No one ever did." And I'm like, "Yeah, exactly right. There you go."
I am.
boy, this show took a turn, didn't it?
Well, yeah, by the way, we still stayed clean. Television
We did.
clean.
We did.
We
You
did,
got
we
it.
did.
That's I always find
And that, ladies and gentlemen, and friends and new friends, that is the definition of comedy. You find the line and you dance along it.
dude. I used to do a bit. I couldn't do this at all. I'm probably going to get vilified for even saying this, but I used to do a bit about being an actor, and I said, you know who the greatest actors are on earth are the straight guys who do gay porn.
Mhm.
And if
Yeah.
that was me, I'd go in with like my own copy of it and drop it on the agent's desk. And you go, "You don't think I can act? Watch this. I'm
Yeah.
not even gay. Look at the smile on my face.
Look how much I'm enjoying it.
Bad
That's
joke.
What's
That's
happening? Are
really
you kidding
funny.
me? You don't think I can act? Look at that.
Look at how happy he is. Look, I did that.
I did that.
that's funny.
Oh, hey.
Oh my gosh. All right. T-shirt,
All right.
walkathon, Abigail Breslin. I think we covered a lot of stuff.
I think Jeff covered a lot of stuff with lotion. I think that's
My
fine.
That might be the best
true.
button of all. All right, so November 18th, Justin Ruppel's going to be in Issaquah. You want to talk
And the
about that?
15th. And the 15th.
And the 15th and the 15th. And also definitely this show will start going out to his TikTok, but go check out his TikTok. I mean, he has hidden his impressions this evening, but he's been on America's Got Talent and he has a lot of talent as an impressionist. And dude, your videos, especially you golfing as Goldblum and stuff, are awesome.
Yeah.
Oh,
So go
so much
check that
fun.
out. Jeff, what should we tell anybody?
Jamie, I got nothing. We're
We're on strike, brother. We're still on
I'm
strike.
on strike. I have I'll play Twitch again someday. I'm just taking a break right now.
Oh, actually, we should talk. We are going to do. There's a parents lounge in the metaverse.
Oh yes,
Correct.
VR.
We're going to do eventually an Oculus party
Okay.
in.
If you have a VR god, yeah.
In VR, yeah, we're going to do an Oculus thing. And do some games and
That'd be
stuff in there or
great.
something. We might even do like a
Okay.
little. There's a stage. We might actually do like a live comedy show as our avatars and stuff.
I
That's
I
really
took
funny.
Jeff in. I gave him the
Yeah.
tour of the club.
Oh, did you see it?
It was a,
I-
it was a great
It's
place.
pretty amazing, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I
we might
liked
do
it.
we might do like a stand-up comedy show, and I might reach out to a few comic friends of mine, and we'll have
Okay.
like a legit stand-up show to a bunch of avatars in the audience. I think it'd be super fun.
That's
right?
really funny. That'd be
It'd be
funny.
super cool.
We can do a
Um,
sketch.
What else should we tell everybody, Justin, before we roll?
This is my favorite night of the week. Tuesday nights.
No.
Join us every Tuesday nights. We have, if you want to go back in our catalog, it's available. But we have big news coming up, right, Jay? Yes, can we say
We
that?
are. Very soon we will be unveiling.
We're all Jays. That's
And
Oh my
it
gosh,
is.
we are.
Oh, it's coming soon. Yeah, we're actually doing some expanding stuff, so it's kind of cool. So we got a little meta. We might have a little some behind the scenes content, and we might have a lot of other stuff going on. So listen, we're super thankful. We have a huge audience tonight. We're super thankful for the people who came over. Apparently, Discord, is that a lot of Discord people? That's awesome. Super fun.
I think it's Twitch. I don't think Discord. Discord is
Twitch?
just where
It's Twitch, yeah.
Oh, it's Twitch. Okay.
Discord is where I announced it.
And my good buddies, a lot of people from my little Facebook were very kind, including Casey Oliver, who was the nicest guy to me in high school,
Yeah.
probably ever. So thank you, Casey.
He was the only one who was nice to you.
That's right.
I mean, to be fair, in high school, you were very obnoxious. You wouldn't.
And you
shut
put your
up.
face on
Just
his
like I am
body.
now, an asshole.
Very, very impressionable. But so thank you guys so much. So, and if you're listening to this on iTunes, please follow, subscribe, like, review. Also, you can always share the show to your pages so that other people can do it. The whole point of the show is to let parents have a little break. And we brought a
Yeah.
guy with no kids in so we can all remember what life was like before our children, pretty much.
Yeah, and we have all kinds of different guests. We've had everybody from Jeff Foxworthy to Richard Marks on this show, so you never know who's going to show up.
Jeff Lewis.
new audio
Yeah,
episodes
honestly,
of the podcast.
it's always my favorite. It ends up me just, and that's why we didn't mean to go this long. I deliberately did not want to go long, but I was like, it's so much fun to catch up with everybody. So it's a super fun night. That's it for myself, Jamie Kaler, Jason Gowan, Jeffy Liu, Justin Ruppel. Thank you guys for tuning into the Parents Lounge. We're here every week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So come back, check us out, and we'll see you guys next time.
Good night, everybody.